This is the indoor grill that let me cook pork belly and burgers in my apartment without setting off the smoke alarm. After a month of breakfasts, weeknight dinners, and one rowdy BBQ night, here's how the CUSIMAX Smokeless Grill actually behaved on my counter. I'd put this in the indoor electric grill for small spaces category. It's for anyone who wants real grilling at the table, but can't or doesn't want to deal with an outdoor setup. If you live in a condo, a dorm-style space, or you want to host a tabletop cookout without filling the room with haze, this is made for you. If your priority is a steakhouse hard sear on thick cuts, you'll still want a ripping hot cast iron under a vent hood or an outdoor flame. This one is about controlled heat, clean air, and social cooking. The physical design is all about that goal. It's a hefty unit with enough weight to stay put when you're flipping a heavy steak. The footprint is bigger than a standard griddle, and you'll want to give it a permanent home or a dedicated shelf. The glass lid turns out to be key. It traps heat and keeps little gusts in your kitchen from blowing smoke around, and it helps the internal fan do its job. The plates are the right kind of heavy, with a smooth non-stick finish. I swapped between the perforated grill plate for meat and veggies and the flat griddle for breakfast. Both sit solidly, lock in, and heat evenly. The control surface is a clean LED panel with simple touch buttons. No fiddly knobs, no guesswork. The cord is short on purpose, common with countertop heaters, and that's something to plan for. I had to choose my outlet carefully to avoid an extension or tripping over cables. Setup is straightforward. The drip tray slides in, I add water before every session, and that step matters. The water catches grease and cools it so the fan isn't trying to move hot, smoky vapor around the room. There's a reflective plate under the heating element that keeps heat moving upward and protects the body. I power on, tap the temperature, and the fan kicks in with a steady hum. It's about as loud as a microwave on low. Preheating to the top end takes a few minutes. And I found that letting it sit a touch longer gives me better initial sear when I drop cold protein on. The heat profile is consistent across the plate. Instead of one hot coil in the center, it uses a looped element that spreads energy to the edges, so I can park asparagus on the side while I sear meat in the middle and everything actually cooks. The temperature range covers the basics. From a low simmer for pancakes to the mid-400s for searing and grill marks. There's a ceiling, and you feel it on thick steaks. The top setting is enough for browning and the Maillard reaction, but it won't blast through a cold, 2-inch ribeye like an outdoor flame. When I tried that, the surface browned, but I had to work for the crust. Patting the steak dry, letting it sit at room temp, and avoiding overcrowding helps. The glass lid is a cheat code for anything that needs a little extra time. Chicken thighs, burgers thicker than a diner patty, or veggies that benefit from a quick steam before a char. About the smoke extractor, it's not a gimmick. I cooked bacon, pork belly, and marinated short rib slices with the fan on and water in the tray, and my smoke alarm stayed silent. You still get the aroma of food cooking. That's unavoidable, and honestly, part of the fun. But the room never turned hazy, and I didn't get that eye-stinging spike you get from fat hitting a screaming hot pan. If I forget to add water, I can tell right away. The smoke rises. The fan sound doesn't change. But it stops being efficient because grease is hitting a dry tray and sizzling. So the water step isn't optional. It's the filter. On burgers, I ran 1/3 pound patties, preheated to the top end, and left the lid off for the first minute to let the initial moisture vent, then covered to push the heat through the center. That gave me a firm crust, nice grill marks, and a juicy middle without setting off alarms. For BBQ, I used thinly sliced brisket and pork belly. With the perforated grill plate, the fat dripped away, the fan kept up, and I could cook steady rounds without smoke billowing out. I did notice that sugary marinades are a trap at higher heat. Anything like teriyaki will scorch fast and create sticky residue that smokes more than savory cuts. I got better results brushing sweet sauces on in the last minute or moving sauced items to the cooler edges. Weekday breakfasts were easy wins. The griddle plate handles pancakes and eggs without hot spots, and the bacon drains nicely on the grill plate. I like that I can do everything for 2 people in one pass. Veggies are where the even heat really shines. Zucchini and asparagus pick up attractive char lines and stay snappy. Shrimp cook quickly and release cleanly from the non-stick. A couple of things I noticed about the experience. The fan is always audible. It fades into the background after a few minutes. But if you're sitting right next to it having a quiet conversation, you'll be aware of a constant hum. If crumbs or a hardened speck of grease fall into the intake, you'll hear a little rattle. Power off, let it cool, and clean it out before continuing. Also, this pulls as much power as a toaster. On a shared kitchen circuit, I avoid running the kettle and this grill at the same time to keep from tripping a breaker. Cleaning the parts you touch is painless. The plates and the lid release most residue with hot water and a soft sponge, and they're dishwasher safe. But I've started hand washing to be gentle on the coating. The drip tray is the messy bit because it's warm water mixed with fat. I slide it out slowly and pour it into a can before rinsing, and that prevents sink clogs. The tougher part is the fan and interior airflow path. Over time, a thin film of grease settles inside. I wish the fan housing were easier to access. Getting to the blades requires tools most people don't keep in a kitchen drawer. I've been using a long, soft brush and a degreaser through the vents, and that works, but it's not satisfying. If you cook a lot of fatty cuts, schedule a deeper clean, because buildup will make the fan louder and less efficient over months. There are small touches that help day to day. The tempered glass lid turns the grill into a mini convection box and speeds things up, especially on chicken or thick burgers. The temperature controls are dead simple. Tap up or down, and the unit reacts quickly, with enough thermal mass in the plate that opening the lid doesn't tank your heat. The perforated grill plate drains excess fat into the water and leaves food with defined grill lines, which look good and taste right. I like that the body stays manageable to the touch on the sides, though the lid and the plates are obviously scorching, so I keep oven mitts nearby. My favorite use case has been hosting a Korean barbecue night at the table. I set out thinly sliced meats, kimchi, lettuce, and vegetables, and everyone cooks their own. The fan keeps the air clear enough that we're not blinking through smoke, and the glass lid helps corral steam between batches. It turns dinner into an activity without turning the room into a smokehouse. On a normal weeknight, it's also become my go-to for fast burgers or salmon with asparagus when I don't want to heat the whole kitchen. I preheat, season, cook under the lid, and everything is done before the oven would have finished preheating. It's not flawless. The heat sealing means you need technique for a dense steak, so I keep those to an inch or less, or I do a quick oven preheat, then finish on the grill for color. The fan noise is part of the deal. The cord is short, so plan your outlet. The unit takes storage space, and I wish the manufacturer made the fan cleaning process friendlier, because that's the only part that feels like a chore after heavy use. Even with those quirks, I keep reaching for it because it solves a very specific problem well. If you're in a small space and want to grill indoors without setting off alarms, this is the first one I've used that actually keeps visible smoke under control, while still giving real browning and grill marks. If your perfect steak lives at blazing temperatures, or you're sensitive to any background hum, it may not be your match. For apartment cooks, condo dwellers, and anyone who wants to turn dinner into a hands-on activity without breathing in a haze, it earns its place on the counter. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe, drop a comment with your questions or your own tips for indoor grilling, and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching.